Hi, my name is Dean Heald, and this is part 9 of a 10-part webinar mini-series focused on children's behavior. Today we're going to be talking about utilizing reward to motivate good behavior. All right, so first and foremost, the most important thing, we want to reward, not bribe. And what I mean by that, we want to have natural and logical responses for good behavior. We don't want to say, if you do good behavior, you will get, in this case, ice cream, okay? And we'll talk about why that is. So a bribe is given or promised before the behavior you want, and a reward is given afterwards. So if you behave in the grocery store, you can have a chocolate bar. Or stop screaming, or that might be a situation more like a bribe would be stop yelling at me and you can have a chocolate bar. Okay, so bribing them to stop bad behavior, and just kind of something that's given out of desperation, right? Rewards reinforce good behavior. You know what? You were so well behaved that you can pick out a treat. Okay, so a bribe, something that's probably, if you stop running around, if you stop crying, you can have a chocolate bar. Okay, that's a bribe. Something that's promised as for good behavior. Rewards reinforcing that good behavior, something that's given afterwards. One of the biggest drawbacks of bribes is it creates a sense of entitlement. I want to be paid for something. I want to be given something. Just for behavior that really should be considered just good behavior, just naturally expected behavior, right? Ultimately, what we want is our children to independently behave in an appropriate way, because that's just the right decision to make. That's just the right thing to do. The more we bribe them for good behavior, the more we tell them, if you do this, you get this, then that expectation continues. It's not just the intrinsic motivation of doing it just because it's right. It's, I want to be paid for it. So the most important type of reward is one that happens naturally because of good behavior. In this case, you see two little girls playing, and you might be saying, well, because you shared, or because you were a good friend, you had lots of friends. That's a natural reward as a result of good behavior. You refused to share with your friends, and therefore they didn't want to play anymore. That's a natural and logical consequence of inappropriate behavior. Okay, if I say, go over there and share with your friends, and I will take you to McDonald's afterwards, just be good. Okay, that's bribing them for something that really we should be expecting of them naturally and normally, right? So don't bribe them for good behavior. Reward them and communicate. Sometimes the reward happens naturally, so we need to say, hey, did you notice that your friends wanted to stay and wanted to spend more time with you? Why do you think that is? Because I shared. Exactly. So sometimes we need to point out the natural reward that happens as a result of good behavior. So the benefits of utilizing rewards. Rewards can encourage good behaviors. Rewards can increase self-esteem, and rewards can improve your relationship with your child. So one of my favorite ways to reward is it's unplanned. It's not something I've promised in advance. It's let's say my teenager wants to go out, and their curfew is, let's say their curfew is 9:30, and I can say, you know what, you've been doing so well making it home on time. That shows that you're responsible. It shows you're respectful of the rules. If you'd like to stay out a little bit later tonight, just give me a call, let me know, or give me a text, let me know that you're okay, and let me know when you'll be home. And so it's that unplanned reward. One of the best ways to modify human behavior or encourage future good behavior is through that randomized reinforcement, so that those rewards that come out of nowhere. You know what? You've been working so hard. I think I'm going to do your dishes for you tonight. Why don't you go relax? Okay, and that's going to improve the relationship we have with our kids, because they're gonna think, wow, that felt like love, or wow, my parents see me during those times, that I'm trying hard, right? We don't want our kids to feel like they're only being seen when they're misbehaving. That their successes are being recognized as well and celebrated. So types of rewards, those social rewards, affection, right? So, and I'll tell you right from the foremost, this is one of the strongest types. One of the best ways that we can recognize and reward our children for good behavior is just by simply, pointing it out to them. I see you. I love you. Come give me a hug. Thanks a lot for that effort. Thanks a lot for doing that, right? Praise. You know what? You're really good at that. And I appreciate that. Or, wow, I didn't even have to ask you to do that. Thanks a lot. Right? So that recognition, attention and activities. So, and this would be probably the strongest one. You've been working so hard. Why don't you and I go fishing today? Just the two of us. Let's spend some time together. Let's engage. And it's going to, not only it's going to recognize that their efforts, recognize, give an opportunity to build good behavior in the future. It's going to strengthen that relationship. Right? So these social rewards, that praise, that attention, that affection, that time, that one-to-one time, right, where it's just focused on them, these are going to be our strongest type of rewards. So really focusing in on these ones. And it's not to say that we're withdrawing this stuff when things aren't going as well. And it's just as important when our children are struggling to remind them, hey, you know what, today was a tough day, but I love you so much, and let's have a better day tomorrow. Those are really important messages too. So we're not withdrawing that love and affection when things aren't going well. We're just remembering that that is a natural reward for great behavior, and it's something that is probably the strongest motivator for future behavior. Unplanned rewards, like I said, one of the greatest ways to change human behavior is through unplanned, randomized reinforcement. So since you were so well behaved while at the store, you can pick out a chocolate bar. So it's not, guys, just be good and you can have a chocolate bar. I'm not attaching it to them being good because they should be good. I'm not attaching it to them being good in advance because they should be good independent of that bribe, right? They should be good because that's just what should be expected, right? But so if I can show them, every once in a while, hey, you guys were really good. Why don't you grab a chocolate bar? It's not, I didn't plan it. I didn't promise it. It's not why they did it. They did the behavior. They did great behavior because they were intrinsically motivated, because that was just what was right. All right. And as a result, there was a reward, right? So we don't want to attach it to the behavior in advance because it becomes a bribe. Then they're doing it for the chocolate bar, not because of, that was just a good decision to make. Types of reward: first, then, or if, then. Okay, so first you need to clean your room, and then you can watch TV. First you need to clean up your mess, and then you can go outside and play with your friends. Or if you finish your homework, then you can play video games. So, and once again, it makes sense. We need to take care of our responsibilities first, and then those natural rewards that happen as a result of that responsible behavior. All right. So, and I always, like, as a parent or as a teacher or, as a caregiver, I always want to use those times when I have something that they want, right? I always want to use it. So guys, before we eat dessert, why don't we clean off the table? Why don't we put the dishes in the dishwasher, right? And then we'll have dessert together, right? So first, then. Key point: reward should be a natural and logical consequence of good behavior. Okay, so the natural and logical consequence of studying for an exam is getting a good mark on the test, right? So we're doing it, you know, and it's happening naturally. Or, you know, intrinsic motivation. I did this because it's the right thing to do, not because I wanted the chocolate bar, not because I, you know, like, so that's what we're trying to build. Initially, our kids, you know, we need to build up their intrinsic motivation. Initially, that's not going to happen, you know, necessarily naturally right away. We need to build up that intrinsic motivation by giving them that feedback. You know, you made a good choice there, and that's why I'm willing to help out with cleaning up your room, right, or whatever. Don't overuse. Overuse. If you do this, you get. If you do this, you get this type of rewards. If you behave well, you get a chocolate bar. If you overuse that, like I said earlier, it's going to create that entitlement. I was good at the grocery store. Why didn't I get a chocolate bar today? Right? We don't want that. We want that. We want that intrinsic motivation. I was good just because that was the right thing to do. And praise and acknowledgement, like I said, strongest type of reward. Just acknowledging, just letting your kids know, I see you when you're being good. I see the good choices that you're making. I see that you're trying hard. Why don't you take a break? Okay, that acknowledgement, that is what they're going to remember. I always say, you know, for, you know, like as a teacher, I always tell teachers, you know, that acknowledgement, that praise, that's going to be much stronger motivator, much stronger reward than the pick out of the dollar store box. I can remember all the times when I was a kid, many of the times when I was a kid, when teachers singled me out for praise. And I don't really remember the times that I, you know, got to pick out of the dollar store box, or, you know, got to pick a sticker and that kind of stuff. It was the actual praise, the actual acknowledgement that really made an impact. And then just encourage intrinsic motivators. Encourage, you know, communicate to the kids that they should, you know, that they should feel good as a result of their accomplishment. You know, wow, you know, you did really well on that test. And how did that feel? Or you were really well behaved today. I bet you that feels a lot better than you know, having to get in trouble, or, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, how did that make you feel inside? What made you make that choice? You know, like, we're wanting to build that intrinsic motivation. We're wanting to build on those internal motivators to behave in a good way, right? In this case, in the picture, you know, the girl's learning for the sake of learning, not necessarily to get the A+ on the test. A+ would be that extrinsic motivation, the learning, the reading just for, you know, just because she enjoys reading. That's the curiosity. I'm getting it. I'm reading this just because I'm curious, just because I enjoy reading. Those are those intrinsic motivators. I do this because, you know, it's the right thing to do, or it makes me feel good inside, or it's just what I want to do. All right, so that's just a quick overview of utilizing reward to motivate good behavior. If you have any other questions, by all means, contact the amazing, wonderful people in the wellness team at Kw'umut Laylam. Phone number's right there. Thanks a lot, and we will hopefully see you on part 10.